the things that I saw in this pandemic, I saw that people who are self-employed are actually surviving than those ones who worked in offices.
Sincerely speaking, COVID-19 has caused enormous challenges. I'll start with school dropouts. School dropout is quite very high now because of COVID-19. More girls were impregnated.
Think of what you want to be in the future and think of the way you're going to build that thing you want to be in the future. Like, if you want to be someone important, you have to start now.
I learned to be more safe, to know that what you eat, what you touch, everything else can cause you, has consequences.
Open Up Africa. Thoughts, ideas, real discussions by the youth on Open Up Africa.
Hello, this is Open Up Africa and welcome to another edition of Open Up Africa. I'm Andrew. Let's start from the extreme end. I'm joined by our usual suspect, Arafat. Welcome to the show. And of course, a guest today to join us on this topic, we have Bridget from Akillah Institute. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here as well.
And immediately we have Sonia from Akillah Institute.
Hi.
You're welcome, Sonia.
Thank you.
And of course, our usual suspect, Liz, is not missing out today.
I'm not a suspect, no, but okay.
You're welcome, Liz. It's the third edition of COVID-19. These are discussions, but the uniqueness in it, these are youth discussions. That's why today, unlike before, I'm putting on a mask, uncomfortable on a show like this, but we have to reflect what's happening on the ground. And the topic is COVID-19 in Africa. What challenges and lessons has it posed onto the youth, us? And no better way of discussing it than inviting the youth involved. Us, them, you watching. You're welcome to the show, and let's kick it off straight up. Arafat, you have been controversial before we started recording. Yeah, youth, COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID-19 actually has caused quite a number of challenges, but also it has also brought in many opportunities to some youth in Africa, but in particular where we are in Rwanda. So I believe it has really brought in, as you know, before COVID-19, before outbreak of COVID-19, let me start with the opportunities it has brought in. Before COVID-19, you remember that many universities, many schools were not using, were not too much in long distance learning. Should I call it that? Online classes. We didn't have online classes. But after the outbreak, schools had to sort them out and ensure that they can have what? Online classes. That is an opportunity that came in. Now people are all in that.
They are more open to the
They are more open to online classes, and now they are more used to online classes than before.
And they've gained more skills, actually.
Yes, even so, I believe without COVID-19, we wouldn't have had that coming in as it is today.
Definitely.
So I believe that's one of the things that COVID-19 has brought in. But then when we look at the challenges, sincerely speaking, COVID-19 has caused enormous challenges. I'll start with school dropouts. School dropout is quite very high now because of COVID-19. More girls were impregnated, more girls were raped, and actually COVID-19 has had a great impact on girls.
But is it COVID? You're speaking as if it's COVID that has caused that.
Yes, the outbreak.
I think there is more to COVID. There is maybe COVID came, but then what happened in COVID? People lost jobs. They are now idle. Which is why.
Actually, yes, it's. But the cause is COVID-19.
No, but when he says you're saying the cause, I think she has a point.
You're saying COVID-19.
When we talk of rape, in pregnancies, do we peg it onto COVID-19, or we were found immoral, indisciplined?
No. But then now that we are more idle,
when COVID-19 came, people became idle.
Exactly.
When they became idle,
now
they went into
idleness.
lockdown. You remember lockdowns? So in the lockdowns, all students left schools and went back home. when they were home, they had nothing to do. And these guys, the pests were around them.
These parasites.
The pests were around them, you know. So all of
Actually,
them,
in line with what he's saying, I think the more you're not doing anything, the more you spend your time doing nothing,
Thinking or
the more you find yourself in things that are necessary, the things you shouldn't be doing. So what he's saying, COVID just imposed ways, a new way to live, because you had to spend the most of your time doing nothing, which forced us finding new hobbies. Actually, those hobbies weren't, because that's when you start finding girls which went to secondary schools to come home impregnated because they had boyfriends. Now they have time to talk to them more.
To visit them
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, to visit them because maybe he's his neighbor, and they have more time to be together and start doing things.
that's what I was saying.
It explains the old proverb that we used to hear in English. An idle mind is a devil's workshop.
Yeah,
I think we have been utilized. Our minds have been utilized so much in this pandemic, the lockdown. We have become devil's workshop since even churches have been closed.
So it has been more on youth because
since churches
these are
have
the
been
people,
closed.
most youths were at school, and when schools closed, they had to go home. And when the lockdown was quite long, you understand? When they were home, the youth were highly affected.
And most of them
And
lost
there are
jobs
those from the vulnerable families, poor families, who could not even go online for learning, and they had to do nothing. And maybe parents are at work, they have to go visit their boys or visit their house, you understand? So it has caused a lot of challenges to youth. By the way, more even than the old folk, as you may think.
Okay.
So maybe
So-
that's what can raise.
Sonia, you had chipped in. Please share your experience. It can be your personal experience or something. What have you seen? How many months? Home? Close to a year, we could say.
Yeah.
But again, is it the same experience?
No, actually, I think that I personally, I've got to learn many things about due to what COVID has imposed. Because I think I've got more time to look at what I want to be in the future, but which was not the case for most of us.
Reflection.
Yeah, and I think about what he said about running online, that was something that I personally I wasn't used to. But the thing that I have come to learn about running online is that you are your own boss. You have to find time to do things and settle them down. Find a way to study. If you had something else to do, you now know that your marks are in danger. You have to work hard, though the instructor. Because studying online is a bit complicated and very, very disgusting. I can't lie.
Oh, wow.
Because you have to do all things at your own.
Nobody supervises you.
No, he just makes sure that he sends the readings. You have to read and make sure you do the assignments, do reflections, quizzes by your own.
Yeah.
Because you can, if it was to him to explain, he would spend more hours. He would spend more hours explaining. And I also found out that COVID brought in opportunities to some of us. Like as there was this campaign of building more schools in Rwanda, most people found themselves working on those sites.
Yes.
Which made them make money. Like it was something great because instead of staying home and doing nothing, start thinking of nonsense, at least you had to work. You had to work and make money.
Yeah.
So I personally, I think COVID was something which made me learn. It made me reflect back on what I want to be in the future and the ways that I have to work and how I have to work on it so that my ambitions, my goals be true. Because we never know, maybe some years to come, there may be another pandemic. And the reason why I think COVID has been a little more challenging, it's because we've never experienced something like this.
Yeah, for the
We've
first time.
never seen the whole world in lockdown. Like it was something new and you couldn't see yourself handling it because there was no solutions available. Like there was no people who has lived this before. So I think we are the generation to prove that though the life is challenging, we can work together, work hand in hand, and fix the stuff.
I love that. It was a new experience. Of course,
Interesting.
talking of that, you talked of opportunities, which means jobs that matter. We were able to realize whether our jobs matter or not.
Yeah.
Security personnel were the frontline workers,
Yeah.
essential workers. When you talk of the health expatriates, when you talk of media, some, and of course you have talked of construction. Of course, people had to extend. When you talk of new hospitals, I hear there's a new hospital that was built. Was it in China? In a week.
Yeah.
That was very strange.
Wow.
Yes, a week. It was raised up, and that was something. And if you look at infrastructures, people had to be alert. Governments had to be alert in this time. What do we have in our hospitals? I think it was something very crucial. Bridget, how was your experience? What were the challenges or lessons? Challenges first.
Well, COVID-19 was such a bad experience,
Aye.
especially for people who are of new era, like this generation, our age. You're just a teenager or in your early 20s, or you're not yet beyond 35. It was a really new experience seeing everybody in a pandemic, like she said. It's a lockdown, the whole country. You don't know what to do. You just feel hopeless. You're lonely. You're stressed. So personally, the effect that I had from COVID-19 was disrupted planning. My planning was totally disrupted. And I believe it's not only me. Like, I had a friend, he had his plans like, it was like 2020 is my year. I have to get money. He had a job. So he was like, I have to save by at least the end of this year. I will have 600K as my saving, and I will buy a land of 400K. There are some lands there in Vidz. Yeah, so, but at his job, unfortunately, they fired him. These restrictions that came from the government of reducing employees in businesses, he was among those. So you see, that job insecurity that was created really led to him being hopeless.
Yeah.
And now he's also uncertain. When will I get a job again? It's now 2021. I never got my plans last year. I have to strive. So that was a very big challenge. You don't know when you'll get a job again. Yeah, true. You don't know whether you'll get employment, because everybody's cutting employees. Nobody wanna hire you. But aside from that challenge, personally, I learned a lot as well. I learned that we should stop looking things in a rigid way, if I can say that. Like, as me, a student at Akillah, I went to school with a goal of saying that I have to finish campus, get a job in an office. You see? But the things that I saw in this pandemic, I saw that people who are self-employed are actually surviving than those ones who worked in offices. So the benefit or the lesson that I learned is that I should be a creative thinker. Because creative thinking people are the ones surviving, are the ones thriving in this pandemic. They're solving, they're looking at different things. What are people needing in this pandemic? Specifically targeting those human needs, then solving what they want. And they're the ones thriving. So I was like, I should start analyzing what is really missing. You get?
Yes.
So that is a lesson that I really learned. I learned how to be creative. Anything can turn into something that would be successful. Because trust me, we'll have to live with this pandemic.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow. Bridget raises something very interesting. She learned over the time of the pandemic, she learned to be a creative thinker. Are you a creative thinker? Just after the break, we'll delve into challenges or opportunities that COVID-19 has brought us. Are you a creative thinker? After the break.
Open Up Africa. Thoughts, ideas, real discussions by the youth on Open Up Africa.
Welcome back from that break. Open Up Africa. The hashtag Open Up Africa across all social media platforms. And today is a special day because we have Bridget and Sonia, students from Akillah Institute of Women, and they are sharing
Exactly.
that has to be bold It's in bold letters. So they are sharing really interesting experiences on what they have studied, and I've marked something as well as we left. Liz, you told us in our first edition, remember? In our first series of...
You remember what I said?
Yes, you said you tapped into some opportunities.
I did, actually. Personally, I'll speak personally. This COVID problem has been a challenge. Like, it has been a general problem, a general challenge to me. And, well, I learned through it, like everyone else. I learned to be more safe, to know that what you eat, what you touch, everything else can cause you, has consequences. Everything you touch, everything you know, because I remember it came from someone eating, was it a frog or a rat or something?
Was it that? I don't
Yes.
think it was that. Okay,
Yes.
those were the conceptions, people.
But well, I've really, okay, I got opportunities. Why am I over speaking? I got
You want
opportunities.
to speak?
I was more open to getting every other opportunity that comes my way.
You're more
Because,
alert.
yeah, but then again, I noticed that it is, I remember saying this in the last episode, it is always good to have a plan B, you know?
Plan B.
Yeah, because you can't just sit there and think you have a job that pays you monthly, and then next week you're fired. What are you gonna do? You know? But then besides that, you gotta learn how to save.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. You don't know where you'll be. You know, and sad. I'm speaking about those briefly because I think we all get it. But then again, a big point to me is you have to learn to live with people.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're there disrespecting people at work, you know, your friends, you don't care what they think, what they say to you, tomorrow they're the ones you'll go to for help, you know, when you need it. Who will help you when you are misbehaving? No one will have time for
What are
that.
some of the things that happened on you that you didn't expect to come in during COVID? Because people,
I didn't expect
COVID-19
it at
came
all.
abruptly, you know. There are
Yeah, I
things
didn't
that-
expect it
the
at
things
all.
that came when you are not prepared. What things that happened on you that caught you unaware, that you're not prepared, that what? Could this happen? Could this happen? What?
Me working more than 3 jobs.
Well, that's,
I didn't know
that's
I
a
could
point.
do that.
That's a point. That's a real
You
good
know?
point.
Yet you can
Yeah.
So before you were
you're
in your
there,
comfort
it
zone.
is so hard to wake up in the morning, you are complaining. But then when you go out there and work and leave work, you go somewhere else and get some money, at the end of the day you're happy about it. You are praising yourself. You can't believe you could do this. Okay, for me, because I like sleeping. So yeah.
Everybody likes sleeping.
No, some people actually don't. Now I
It's
don't.
the sweetest thing.
Guys, I
Swear to God, now I don't.
seriously, I love. I've learned a lot.
Like
Actually,
what?
this has been like a lesson, more of a lesson to me than just a discussion at Open Up Africa, because this lady has talked about being more creative, thinking about, you know, to be creative.
Yeah.
Most guys were not creative. Most people were not creative before the outbreak. People thought life is easy. There are some people like who were 50s and they didn't have that in mind that something could come and freeze the world. You understand? So people were just like at home. But boys who were good at internet, in their homes, they are doing some good money.
Yeah,
You
they're
understand?
working
You
online.
understand?
Yeah.
Guys who are working online even before the outbreak, they continue working for their money. And for us who are just there, farmers, people who are in farming, people really made good money in farming.
They did.
But in towns, when you see most boys in Africa, the problem, most people like in Africa, young men and women, the problem I've seen is one, that they have this ego, like they think
We are
if
too
I have a
arrogant.
degree, I can go to farming. If I have a degree, I can't go to deliveries.
Well,
Yeah.
some people
You
still
understand?
think
Yes,
that.
security forces.
Like if I have a degree, I cannot do like these simple jobs.
Casual
work. You understand?
Yes.
That ego is mad. That is among the youths in Africa. It's really very bad. It's killing them, and most of them have realized it now. Because if you don't have plan B, as Liz has been saying, you can do nothing. She talked about how internet, how like learning online was quite very challenging. Yes, that is very true. There are people out there who didn't know even how to use a laptop.
Yeah.
That's true.
You understand?
Yeah.
And some didn't have even a laptop.
Even some educators, as you said.
Some educators like didn't know how to use internet.
True.
There are some lecturers who could not go online and upload work.
Yeah.
You understand?
You imagine
That
how
all came in
they
there.
had to teach.
So if you are not like someone who wants to learn here,
who is open-minded,
suffer
To
a lot.
learning,
And I believe, sincerely speaking, youths out there, the most important thing you need to know is that every time think about plan B. Have like 3 steps ahead of you. Just think about that. Say that if this collapses, what am I going to do? If this collapses,
Do I have a plan?
Please,
Always have a plan.
they should remove that ego in them.
Yeah.
Do whatever
You
comes
know?
across you.
Do whatever pays your bills.
Yes, do
Crying
whatever
out
pays
loud.
your
It
bill.
is okay.
This thing
No
of
one else
thinking,
is paying
I
your
have a
bills.
degree by when I know guys in my residence, who are graduates. They live in their father's homes. They say they
Graduating.
have a degree. I'm still looking for the
Yeah,
job.
some
They
people
have
went back
applied
home
to more than
this
40
pandemic.
places. They haven't received any confirmation or maybe
Yeah.
come for the interview.
That's
you
true.
understand? But they still have that they will get a job.
Actually,
White collar jobs really are killing Africans. They need to think outside the box. They need to go into farming.
You
Farming
can't
is
just
making
put
money.
your thoughts in one
Because
thing.
you have a degree. What is a degree?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
So,
actually-
of course, we have, you are still students.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There's something I wanted from your perspective, or even it could be shared experience, even to educators out there or the governments. We're talking of African governments. With this facing us, the pandemic and learning systems change. What was your experience, and what would you advise from your experience as regards? Do you think the education system also took shape? Besides the internet, learning online, what facilities should be implemented or put in place? Where should the government or educators out there focus on?
Put more attention.
Yes,
Yeah.
put more attention to.
Personally speaking, at Akillah, we are actually lucky to have Akillah.
Yeah.
Because we are actually lucky to have Akillah. Because by the time COVID kicked in, we are actually the class of 2021. We are a blended online blended learning class.
Already.
But already
Before
we are the
this
first
year.
cohort, and it's still an MVP. And by that, we have sessions of face-to-face and online. Online is really a tough job. Every student knows that, because you really have to put in much research in what you're studying, because the teacher is not there. He's not there to spoon feed you A, B, C, D. In face-to-face learning, he's there 1 to 2 hours to explain. But in online learning, he's there, explain a bit, then do yourself everything else. But Akillah, we were lucky to have them. So I won't say that I had a bad experience in online learning, but according to what I heard from my other peers in other universities, they had a worse system. And I think what the government should do, personally, I don't think on the systems of online learning should be changed by the government.
It's
Personally
personal
speaking,
institutions out there.
themselves, they should find a way
They
to
need-
solve
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but what I think the government can do, it's like due to this pandemic, I think the Ministry of Education should add financial literacy courses. They are really so important.
Financial literacy courses.
Yeah, they're just, even if they are tiny modules or parts, but at least every student, make it mandatory if necessary. Because we took a
She's
financial...
a business student. That's why she's bringing
She's
it.
talking
I
business.
think
She
we-
needs
yeah.
people to know balance sheets. She needs people to know how
Exactly.
to save money. She needs people to know how to
Save.
invest in
How
money.
It
to
is
be
really important
accountable
to-
for your money. in general. So this can be learned by even a secondary student, to be honest. Yeah, so that is the thing I think the Ministry of Education should add as an addition to the education of, because it will help to this child or an university student to grow up with this thing of being financially accountable for everything. If I'm out there in the market, the little money that I have, how can I change it into something big? Things like that, if it makes sense. That's what I can say.
Okay. Sonia, what is your take on that? What do you advise? It can be even parents, because even parents this time were affected as well.
I personally, I think that the government and even institutions out there should invest more in how they educate their students. Like, they should focus on helping them develop interpersonal skills. Because once you are skilled in knowing how to conduct yourself, you're not going to put yourself in troubles. Like, we wouldn't be having this big number of impregnated ladies out there if they knew that they have to preserve themselves. Like, we as students, we should even help others, and even the institutions and people who are working in education area, they should focus more on how the education system is built. Because we are there to gain knowledge, but then what are we going to use those knowledge for if we don't know how to work in public, if we don't know how to behave in public? I think interpersonal skills are something that the government, even parents or people around, should put in more forces. Because once you are someone to be someone accountable, someone that each one can account on, you will get more opportunities. Because everyone will be saying, I know this person, I know how she walks, I know how she behaves, I know how she talks, I know how she dresses. And whenever there is an opportunity, we'll be thinking of you. You'll be saying, I have to call this person. So interpersonal skills, anyone out there who's seeing us, he or she should think about how he's going to develop that thing. Even institutions, because at my school, at Davis College, you've been talking about of Akillah Institute. Now we are Davis College campus, Akillah campus. We are no longer the Institute for Women.
It's a branch?
Yeah, it's Akillah campus. So I think it's something that they have taught us, and I personally, I have get benefits from it, because people laugh at us most of the time because of how we dress. They be saying, oh, how come you are 20 and you are always putting on a suit, you are wearing black, blue, white and stuff. But if you go out there and see how we conduct ourselves.
A suit?
Yeah.
Do they want you to dress, to put on a bikini?
No.
No, I'm just saying.
No, you see, there were other people out there, even in secondary schools. There were schools that you look at its students and be like, are you going to school or you are going to work
If everyone
somewhere?
else out here is wearing how they want, you should maybe be unique, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, you should be unique.
That is
What's important, my point was,
The values.
think of what you want to be in the future, and think of the way you're going to build that thing you want to be in the future. Like, if you want to be someone important, you have to start now. I think COVID gave us time to think. If you didn't think about what you want to be, then take your time, few minutes, reflect on what you want to be, and see, grab any opportunity which is available. It is not necessarily about what she said. It is not necessary that you have a degree, you have to be a financial manager, you have to be something. Maybe you are a good singer. I can give examples of people who we couldn't think of, like themselves also, they didn't know that they were that great. But see this boy, Juno Chizidenza, see Ish Kevin, how they are now, because they get time to think about what they have to do with their careers. And they worked on it, and now they are shining. Even as we should think of things you want to be and start making ways, different ways, because we never know. Maybe there'll be an opportunity which will take you to that thing you want to be, but at the start it wasn't what you want to be. Yeah.
Okay, what challenges has COVID-19 posed to the youth? After the break, the last session is looking at some of your comments. Very many, but we're going to look at some of them. After the break, this is Open Up Africa.
Open Up Africa. Thoughts, ideas, real discussions by the youth on Open Up Africa.
Hashtag Open Up Africa across Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, of course. We are enjoying the discussion that kicked off earlier on our Facebook and Twitter handles. Comments are flowing in. And in this section, we are looking at COVID in Africa. What are the challenges also and the opportunities that youth have encountered? We'll go on to the comments. Let's start with you.
Okay, so some of your tweets from Sarah, she says, on my side, I've seen that many youths are suffering from this pandemic because some of them have been working on themselves as business startups. So because of this situation of COVID, they lost everything, either in financial or markets. So I've learned to save in the future.
And on Facebook, we have a list. She says COVID has affected youth different ways. Loss of life and unemployment. Loss of many youth lost their lives, and they are the strength of the future. Also, many youth lost their jobs because many businesses closed.
Is there Elena? Okay, says, thank you for the question. COVID-19 has caused many challenges, like youth who worked in clubs as DJs lost their jobs. Not only DJs, but also the ones who worked in restaurants and were suspended because of the number of workers. Many youth lost very many important opportunities.
On Facebook, Prove says COVID-19 brought many challenges. Mostly to the first challenge is that many of the youth were still in schools, so their ambitions and goals will not be accomplished in a given time because this COVID-19 made all the things delayed because of the challenges they brought to their lessons being paused. Back on Facebook?
Sure. Kellen Buranga says COVID-19 has changed our lives. It has led to social, political, and economic disruptions, and a large number of youths have lost their jobs, as said by many. However, it has taught us many lessons, but the most important one is to be prepared for everything and saving money in case of any other pandemic. Thank you, guys.
Again, on Facebook, Grace Shimwe also says the biggest challenge was faced by the youth during the pandemic was lots of jobs. The lesson is relative to the challenge, the way the big number of youth became entrepreneurs due to their joblessness. Okay. Twitter, do we have any more?
We do have so many, but I'm thinking we are actually out of time.
Okay, Facebook.
But
Facebook once more. Yeah, let me read some more because we've taken some time without facing Facebook.
Okay.
There's Clarice. Thank you. My name is Clarice. There are so many challenges that youth faced because schools were closed. We lost studies and we lost occupation. The pandemic increased the number of dropouts, unwanted pregnancy among the young youth. Wow. Thank you so much for feeding us through Facebook and Twitter. We are going to interact with you in more discussions that are to come up. Any more last words? We can start with.
Maybe one more last word is that I beg youths out there that they should not think that having a degree is the end of their life. They should know that saving is important. The little you have some savings put aside because bad days are coming ahead of you, and not this because these bad days comes without notice. I want to tell you that I'm on the way coming. So make sure you do savings. Make sure you have more than one source of income. Try as much as you can and have more than one source of income, because when one fails, at least the other will save you. So maybe that's what I can say, that having plan B and more sources of income is more important, and they should ensure that the degree is just a paper to help you think wider, but it's not a must to take you to the job.
Okay.
That's all.
So Bridget, wrap. What's your last word? Advice?
Well, my last words are kind of like an advice. I would like to advise the youth out there to, adding on what Mr. Arafat said, having a plan B, and more especially I'm emphasizing on agriculture. Rwanda as our country is encouraging the youth to go into agriculture. And this means that there are so many initiatives like design challenge initiatives from the government supporting the youth in agriculture. Recently, I saw some food and agriculture for the United Nations. It has a challenge that will give money to the best entrepreneur who comes out with an innovative challenge in the horticulture industry.
Oh.
So imagine there are so many NGOs or whatever I can call it that are willing to give money as a way of giving capital to young youths who have ideas in the agriculture industry. So diversify into different things and look at agriculture. You never know. It might be your talent and you didn't know. Yeah.
Sonia, last words?
Okay, me, I want to talk to the government and the people who are in charge of the country, because I think they are the ones to take the first step. Like, they should invest more in their youth, because as we have seen, there will be a time where we won't be able to get any financial aid and we will be supporting ourselves. So what is going to happen if the number of employment is still high like today? Like, as we have seen, there may be a time where we won't be getting anything from the foreign countries. So I want the government and other people in charge to invest in their youth, to believe in them. And I also want the youth, as Bridget said, to have that creative mind, innovate new things, because there are a lot of things that are not yet out that they have, and they are the ones to give out those things that the world is needing now. Thank you.
Sonia. Please.
My last words, they wouldn't be the last, but for this time would be, do not at any moment of your life settle for a certain job or anything you have going at the moment, because there is always more that you can do in any point of your life. Especially now, we are still young. This is our time to work, you know? Do not feel like you have it all figured out. No, no one ever does. So work hard, because this is our time to actually create a better future for, you know, ourselves and future generations.
Thank you very much, guys. Of course, wrapping up these challenges faced by COVID-19, we understand a lot is going on in Tanzania, and also stand with you to send our condolences to the late President Magufuli and family, and of course all the Tanzanians and the youth out there. But also it poses a challenges to the parents, our parents, and all the people older in the system. During your time, in your youthful years, there wasn't such a pandemic that it is now. So think, which means if you are to think for this generation, you have to think out of what used to be. We have been borrowing examples from history, but we have to think critically. This is a new challenge that is posing harder. We have always had this series of COVID-19, but again, the vaccination is here, but what is coming next, reviving of economies, is something that is going to be harder for Africa. From us here, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.
Till next time, this is a bye for now.